Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich buses today. A single from only £1.20, a return from only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talk in Town. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and it is 1:30 on the nose. It is Sunday, the 20th of February. The weather outside is absolutely diabolical. Another storm approaches, but it's the storm that McKenna is brewing at Portman Road that we are here to discuss today, because yesterday we absolutely took Burton to the sword. We annihilated them, dominated them, and the league table, despite Town still sitting in ninth, does start to look really quite tasty. Looking forward to today's show. Got lots to get through. Obviously, the show today is titled A Match Cade in Heaven. Thank you very much to the big fish, Tom James, for that wonderful suggestion on yesterday's full-time fans react show. A bit later than we normally would like to have done that, but I hope you've enjoyed it all the same. Lots of comments coming in. Lee Brown, first of all, afternoon, everyone. Good one yesterday. Hope to have you back at the Statue Tuesday. Absolutely, Lee. Watch this space, but if not, it will be from the comfort of the home studio, where the heating is rather nice. Let's not lie. Leighton Dump, we all hate Leeds. George Huggins was in the director's box in hospitality yesterday. He met Ashton and McKenna. I can tell you we're in safe hands. Ashton, a very intelligent bloke, spoke all football with me. Love to hear that, George. Right, as always, let's take a look at that all-important league table. There it is. She is a thing of beauty. League One, Ipswich Town, currently still sat in ninth. It feels like we've been sat in ninth and Groundhog Day for the whole season. But 51 points, 4 away from Wickham. 5-5, I believe, yesterday with Tuesday's opponents, Cheltenham. But I am looking, as I said on last night's full-time fans react show, I am looking at Oxford. Same games as us. Have them on the fixture list coming up. 4 points separates us and them. Who knows where this season can take us? But it's exciting times at Portman Road. Right, today we are giving away a copy of Football for Brains by Stephen End. I've got 2 questions for the mogul, so he better have had his cup of tea and his Weetabix today. That's all I can say. And I have got the wheel of names. We had 10 people get points yesterday in our prediction league. That's 10 people entered into the chance to win this wonderful book. But never fear, if you are not one of those 10 people, you can, of course, buy it on eBay. I will drop the link into the chat at some point. It is a great book. Particularly good at parties because everyone thinks they know football. But this is a book that's got some really interesting questions. I've pulled 2 out today. So yes, 10 names. But why am I saying this? Well, the prediction league for next week is now open, week 26. I've opened it early. Why? Because we have a Friday night special. Southampton versus Norwich right at the bottom there. So it's Morecambe Town, Colchester Oldham, Oxford versus Cambridge. Come on, Cambridge. Come on, Cambridge. And Southampton versus Norwich. The link to that is now being dropped into the chat. If you're watching this on catch up or listening on our podcast audio platforms, first of all, QE, hello there. I'm glad to be in your ears, but you can, of course, find this link on our social media and as a comment on our YouTube page. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button. Right, I'll show you the league table from this week a bit later on. But first of all, let's bring in my counterpart for today. If we're a midfield pair, he's the engine while I'm the flare. You need a lot of engine to bring that avalanche, Mr. Phillips. How are you?
All good, thanks. All of the lights, Kelbrook.
Absolutely. Let's start there. All of the lights. I did say Kelbrook inside 4. I was 2 rounds out, but I did say Kelbrook. It was one-way traffic.
It was. It was. There was me thinking Brooke was the washed up fighter, and as it turned out,
It was
I mean, it's a bit washed up and ring rusty, and kind of said in the dressing room after, maybe the love of boxing isn't there anymore. So makes you wonder why he took fight, really. But I'm pleased for Kel because I feel like he needed that victory just for his career. As we said on Friday night, Ami has a pay-per-view career in the States, unbelievable. And Kel never reached those heights, but last night he did. I'd like to see both retire now. Kel's got nothing left to prove now, so all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Have you seen the picture of Kell Brook laid on the sofa, just loving life post
I mean,
fight?
he's not got a mark on him, has he?
No, I noticed.
I mean, it looks like he's been in 2 fights. It's like he's done 24 rounds.
Yes, he does. Yeah, but then he has, he was wobbling from the earliest as the first round.
He really was. I mean, we know he's a little bit chinny. We discussed it on Friday, but even I was shocked to see him staggering in the first. But he never went down. Fair play to him. Did it go down?
But it was a great fight. A great fight after a great match. Why are we telling you this? Well, because we love our boxing, but of course you can watch Talking Knockouts. It'll be a bit out of date now, but we are doing another one on Friday. The next big fight is coming up. It's just all part of our extra bonus content, which I have to say thank you to our monthly supporters. These are the Ko-Fi Fifth Stand Ultras on the screen right now. The wonderful people. You can support us through Ko-Fi, or you can support us through new methods known as YouTube membership. 21 members on YouTube so far. Absolutely loving that. So 21 to go along with these wonderful, wonderful people. But hey, $4.99, Matt. And you get all of the content of Talking Town. Then you get the darts, the F1, the cricket, the boxing. It's a sporting extravaganza at Talking Town.
It really is. It really is, yeah.
You don't get much better.
Apparently, I ignored George Huggins yesterday. Now, George, I'm very sorry. I didn't see you. I'm not good in wet weather. So I was probably scurrying around the back of the North Stand. Had I known you was in the director's box, of course, I would have wanted an invite and we'd have gone up there and sat together, no doubt. But
absolutely. Talking of VIPs, obviously, Mr. Graham Brooke, round the world contributor on Talking Town. He had his book with the Burns family. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, absolutely.
You couldn't miss it. It was all over socials.
What I want to know is there going to be a follow-up? Because obviously, I've said before, I bought that book in about 2013, 14 maybe, and took it to Tenerife with me. So I'd be interested to know if Graham's got a second one planned. That'd be good.
I have to confess, I have yet to really read the book. As I was discussing with Lewis midweek on a show, we are people that go on holiday to read. Without a holiday, I struggle to.
Yes.
I struggle to get the
better
book
than
time
being on
in.
a sun lounger with a beer next to you, looking out over the Tenerife coast. Love that. I'm going there in April. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yes, you are. Fingers crossed. Right, 2 questions. Here we go. Off the book we're giving away today from Stephen N. Football for Brains. Yeah. First of all, question number 387 in the book.
Wow.
When was the last time Man United went out at the group stage of the Champions League? A, 2014-15, B, 15/16, C, 16/17, or D, 17/18. You got time to think about it. I'll give the answers when we give the book away, but just ponder that one for a moment. And the second question.
What was A again?
A was 2014-15, B, 15/16, C, 16/17, or D, 17/18.
Count down all these numbers.
I know. And then question number 441. Are you ready for this one? Which NFL American football team did Clive Allen play for?
Oh, he went over as a kicker, didn't he?
I don't know. You tell me. There you go. 2 questions. We will come back to those when we give the book away a bit later in the show. But really, we've got to talk about a match Cade in heaven. There's nowhere else to start for yesterday's look back, Matt, than with the main man, Kayden Jackson.
Yeah, it was great. Oh, George asked me another question. Have you ever been in the director's box? Yes, I have, George. Many years ago, when Neil Warnock was Bury manager. That's how far back it was. But I have been in there. But Kayden, wow. I mean, Crunchy was said this time last week, didn't he? And after the MK Dons game, that he thought he had put in an excellent performance, and we were like, well, he was all right. I wouldn't say maybe he was excellent, but he did well. And there was maybe a little inkling there that maybe he would start again against Burton in whatever formation that Kieran wanted to put out. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, apparently it was his 100th appearance yesterday, and I have to say, I think that was probably his best ever appearance in a town shirt. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I mean, look, I was trying to even think, when was the last time we scored within a minute? I mean, when I spoke to Rich on the phone last night, there was Freddie Sears at Fulham, Dale Murphy's debut was a pretty sharpish goal. Do you remember that? Is that his first ever touch?
Yeah,
for us?
yeah.
Can't remember. But
I will try and find that information out for tomorrow's show. That is a good little stat to have. But you're right. But the finish alone, it wasn't a scuff. It wasn't a tap in. It wasn't anything easy. He had a lot to do.
Yeah.
And he finishes it with a player like a player who's got 20 on the season already.
Yeah, not his first goal. It was only through ball, wasn't it? From Burns, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he shot maybe a little bit too early. I mean, he's taking the ball inside a little bit, so he's around the D, isn't he? I had a really good view of that from my little vantage point in the Pioneer. And I thought the keeper might save it, actually. He might look back at that and think, I should have done a little bit.
It's right in the corner.
But it was a precision shot, wasn't it? I mean, it was like a Thierry Henry style placement shot from back in the day. Great. What a start. Brilliant. Loved it.
A great start. Yeah. And as somebody said in the chat just a little while ago, Tony B, great comment, Tony B, the perfect match, scored early, whether a patch from Burton early on, 3 good goals, clean sheet, but most importantly, 3 points. Leighton Durrant, Jackson is thriving under McKenna. It's really good to see. Are we seeing the emerge? Because on Friday night show, we were talking about the rotation and maybe it was a case of nobody stepped forward to claim the place. Has he stepped forward to claim that place as his own, or is it more actually McKenna views him maybe as a home striker, the same way not necessarily a home striker, but Pigott, this more so. But you've got those different partnerships for home and away. Is he going to start Tuesday? I guess is what I'm really asking you, because Rich was nailed on. Richard yesterday, he was going to start Tuesday.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Rich told me that on the phone. Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? Because we seem to adapt to suit whatever the opposition bring to the table a little bit, and try and negate those strengths. So we'll have to. I mean, look, there was a goal threat from Cheltenham yesterday, wasn't there?
5 goals,
but then a leaky defence too. Conceded 5.
Yeah.
So
they're only Cheltenham, aren't they?
Yeah. I think you have to say to yourself, how could you even leave Kayden out after? I mean, what message would that send Kayden? At almost 10 out of 10 performance. I mean, sorry, I'll say it's a 10 out of 10 performance. Brilliant. 1 goal, 2 assists. His best ever performance. What message would it send him to say, oh, right, you're going to be on the bench? Or maybe not or not in the squad at all? I think it's pretty obvious. I think he'll start, but who will start next to him might be the bigger question. Yeah. Yeah,
I think you'd be really struggling. You can't leave him out Tuesday. Robert Wilson asked the question is now who starts up front. I'd start. I mean, we'll probably come to Pigott a bit later on, but I would start the same 2 again. I think they had a really decent little partnership brewing.
Great.
They complemented each other's strengths well, and tried to hide the other's weaknesses quite well. Mike the Fisherman, however, says having slated KJ, that was a 9 out of 10 performance by KJ. Yeah. 1 game though, let's not make him messy. Well, last night's fans react show, Matt, he was in fact given a 9 out of 10 by the guys, Alex and Coxey. Is that a fair score? Was he a 9, or is that a little bit too high?
Well, I'm just giving him a 10 just because I've got carried away. But yeah, absolutely. Look, I don't think we need to. Look, no one needs to go overboard to start comparing him to Messi or anything, but celebrate the success when it comes. Celebrate the great performances when it comes, because we've seen a lot of boring football. I mean, I said Friday night, I've been so disconnected with the club under the McCarthy era. It was so boring. And like, you never saw any of these standout performances. When they come along, let's celebrate them. That is a striker whose confidence was rock bottom, training with reserve players and youth players, and then he's come in from the cold and he puts in a performance like yesterday. Great. I mean, we did kind of muse on the fact Friday, didn't we, that maybe none of the strikers could be here next season. But I mean, when you hear McKenna talk about Jackson in glowing terms at full time, and said his attitude was great even when I arrived, and he was obviously going through a bit of a hard period then, Kayden. Look at the leaps and bounds he's made since. I think McKenna really likes him. I think he will be here next season. That's what I think.
Oh, that's a big shout.
Yeah, I can see
a really big shout.
Oh.
Sorry, apologies.
You've mastered the mute button.
Yeah, well, I thought I had it on mute the last time.
Our global audience is applauding right now.
Yeah, I'm applauding right now. Disconnect is a great word. I think you're right. You have got to celebrate the successes when they come. And the thing is, yesterday's performance of KJ kind of plays in and highlights the huge, for me, social issue of today. People are too nailed onto an opinion that they can't allow themselves maneuver to be wrong. And now what we're seeing is this. I've always said KJ was great.
Yeah.
1 game doesn't make him messy. Like, let's just celebrate the fact where we've got a player playing Ipswich Town who himself has said, I expected to leave in the last 3 transfer windows, was told it was surplus to requirements, has evidently worked hard, head down, and got himself back to a situation where he's actively, not only actively playing well, but adding to what is a hopeful playoff push. That's good for our football club. Forget him as a person. That's good for our football club first and foremost.
Yeah, it seems to me that for the strikers, that just seems to be the big question mark, isn't it? That's what everyone's sort of talking about today because, chatting with Rich and seeing his team on Friday, it's all pretty nailed on at the back, isn't it? Walton in goal, the 3 across, 3 across the middle for the 3, and then you got the 2 wing backs, Morsey and Evans. So it's always going to be who are going to be those 3. And our striking options is what any League One club would like, really. So it's quite funny that we keep chopping and changing a little bit.
Absolutely.
Rich did say to me yesterday, what would happen if we got into the playoffs? Would you play your best 3 strikers? I think he had this discussion with Colin as well on the phone. Would you play your best 3, or would you play the 3 that would suit the weaknesses that you might see in the opposition? It's a good question. Hopefully we'll find out if we keep on with this momentum. But I do think Kayden and Pigg have played really well together yesterday. I mean, obviously Kayden was a little bit in those channels and he came into the middle a few times, but they were also looking out for each other. Maybe that's been the missing link for Bigger. Maybe he's not had someone he feels connected with.
Maybe so. Yeah, we'll come to Bigger in just a second. George says, and by the way, I didn't realise how small you are, in real life. That's directed, I think, at yourself.
I am 5'5". Is that
well,
the same height as Messi?
We did have a comment yesterday on the Full-Time Fans React show because talking about height. Somebody, I've got to play this for you, right? Somebody said Matt's voice has changed, and I'm just going to get the clip because it is a funny one, right? Here we go.
Oh, just out the ground. What do you reckon to that, Archie? 3-0 to the Town.
Very good.
So obviously they think Archie was Matt with the glasses and the height.
Good old Archie.
It was a good joke when it came up in I think nobody said it. The username nobody said it in the chat, and I was like, I thought I played the wrong video, and I clocked it after a minute or two. It was very good. Matt Stan, I got the impression that Matt listening to McKenna and Kayden's interview post game. James Hobson, McKenna has said KJ impressed him from the first day in, just perhaps hasn't showed it on game day. Yesterday was a turning point. Irvin, did anyone notice in the post, even the boss, after all that rain yesterday, someone was emptying the water bottles on the pitch? It's already wet, Irv, a little bit more ain't going to hurt it. Excellent tactical muting there. Yes, absolutely. That's the power of watching Town. You get tactical vibes. You pick them up as you go. Leighton, I just love what McKenna has done with the fringe players. He's a really good coach. We're in good hands. It does. Mike D, I think KJ shows the shirt is available to anyone who wants it and works hard enough.
It's quite interesting to me. Like I was staying and watching the players go around and applaud the fans, and McKenna was on with them, and you got the lads with the cameras and everything. And you never think McKenna was 35, 36, whatever he is. He's got like this look about him that just seems older. I know he's a little bit grey around the sides, but you can see the connection with the players, and they're all coming over and shaking his hand, and it's just brilliant to see. It really feels like we're building something. And I thought to myself, I was watching them going around, like, even if it doesn't happen this year, it's still a bit of a tough ask, but if we keep winning, it may well do.
Absolutely.
But are we now going through the McKenna gelling process in order to see what comes next season for us? If we do happen to stay in League One, are we getting over the bit of the crap start we had this year with all the players? Are we actually now, bedding in that period for McKenna to get on the front foot for next season? It feels that way to me. There seems such a connection between them all. And I did worry as a young manager that they might think, what the bloody hell does he know? But of course, the Man United connection probably pours water on that argument, doesn't it?
Well, not necessarily. Because you manage Man United doesn't make you a great manager or a good coach. You are one of the best in the country or seen as so, but it doesn't mean
it makes you a good coach. Whether or not you can then transcend to being an Ipswich Town manager is another question. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, only his 10th game in charge at all, period, full stop, yesterday. He has taken to it like a duck to water. I do hear you. The problem I get with the conversation, I had this last year with Cook. If not this year, we're building for next year. problem I've always got with conversations of next year is football is not a business that stands still. It is a fluid business.
Yes.
What is today is not going to be what's tomorrow. So tomorrow's team might not have Edmondson. I mean, Walton keeps playing well. You don't know what championship side might think. Actually, you know what? There might be a player there we can pick up. Even as a number 2, they have riches in the championship. You know, there's so many things that could change, including, not that I'm saying he would, but if somebody comes in, like let's say West Brom, don't go up. They highlight McKenna as a young up-and-coming manager. Let's get him. It's a really tough ask to say, I'm going to stay with League One Ipswich because I'm building something when you're, you know what I mean? So I get that we're building for next year, but I'm still greedy. I still look at this year and think it's still on. I'm desperate for it because if we do get promoted, I'd love to see McKenna in the championship with a better pool of players to pick from because I think he could do some really, really amazing things in football. And I'm desperate for it to be with Town. And I'm desperate enough not to write this season off just yet because I think it's still alive. It's still definitely alive. It really is. I mean, look at the league table. It does feel like purgatory because we're sat in 9th forever and a day.
Yeah.
But you know, we're closing that gap ever so close, ever so slowly. We've got to put ourselves.
You've always said to try and catch up, which, as Colin said on the phone to me last night, Oxford is now a real cup final, isn't it? If we keep on progressing the way we are.
Yeah. Colin on yesterday's full-time show said him and his dad had this mantra of, yes, it's good to have games in hand, but it's points on the board that matters the most. I look at it a bit differently to that. Okay. I look at it as, right, you know, they've got games in hand. We can't affect those. We hope they lose them. But currently, I'm targeting Oxford because we're on 33, they're on 33. That's who we're closing down. Because if the others do pick up the results they have in their games in hand, you're still targeting a team that was higher than them anyway. If they slip up, even better, it goes from Oxford, for example, to Wickham, and suddenly Wickham become the target. But it's still there. It still very much is there. Talking about still there, Joe Piggott needs a goal desperately. The guys on the show last night said, "How do you see his performance yesterday?"
Yeah, good. He did it. I'm right in thinking he hit the post, didn't he?
He did.
Yes, I thought he did. Yeah. I thought he'd done well. I mean, you know, he's in and out of the side, isn't he? He plays a game against, was it Gillingham? And he doesn't feature at all against MK, and then he's back yesterday. I mean, it must be hard. We've said it must be hard chopping and changing. We know there's a player in there because he scored goals for what was relegated, threatened Wimbledon. So he could obviously create chances out of nothing because, you know, they were down the bottom for a reason and would have got relegated without his goals, wouldn't they?
They would have. Yeah.
And I think it's more to his strengths than playing in the middle. I've been reading, just going back for a few old 442 magazines and their season previews and picking out Piggott as a player that is really good on up front, goal scorer, and can run the channels. So, I mean, we're not really seeing that with him at Ipswich, but clearly he's got that strength to his game as well. But yeah, I thought he did all right yesterday. Like I say, he's chopping and changes in and out. Maybe he needs a little run, but I thought he did well. Shame, he like you said, he needs a goal. Really, it's a shame that one didn't go in. Really, but there we go.
It did okay. Yeah, I mean, it is your words. I'm just thinking he reminds me a little bit of Reg Varney, a little bit. I pick up Varney vibes at the moment from Joe. I think he's a better player. Just at the moment, I'm picking up the vibes because that's who he mostly reminds me of. But it's really interesting. And yesterday on the full-time show, we saw that why football is such that loved sport, because you had Ben, Milk Tray Man, saying, "Yeah, didn't really rate Piggott yesterday." Then the video afterwards was yourself, and you were saying, "Yeah, I thought Piggott did okay," and that just showed two people in the same stadium watching the same game with completely different opinions on the same player.
I mean, I guess it's like, what is your expectation from him? Right, if you expect him to score a hat-trick, didn't have a very good game, but you expect him there to hold the ball up and bring the wide players into the game or set Kayden up on the flanks. I think he did all right, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yesterday, the guy we gave him a 7, but I've seen him get as low as a 3 on somebody's match ratings from yesterday. A 3 out of 10 I saw on, I think it was on Facebook or some sort of social media. Yeah.
That's crazy.
What would you have put him as yesterday? Do you think a 7's a more accurate result?
No, I'd say he was like, I was 6.5 to 7. I don't think he let anyone down. He hit the post, unlucky. Yeah, I think he played the role that McKenna wanted. You don't know what the instructions are from McKenna to Piggott.
No. Well, I think it was more drawing because Burton played with a high line.
Yeah,
and
really
listening to McKenna, they expected the kitchen sink to be thrown at you, which would expect a high line, not a low line.
Yeah.
There's some sort of fancy terminology like low block, high block crap there, but I'm just going to go with the old-fashioned high, low. So Piggott, I imagine, his tactical responsibility was to win the flick on and put in Jackson in behind. And I think he did it a number of times. They couldn't handle him in the air, Joe Piggott. He had the beating of the centre halves in the air every time the ball was in that. Was in there.
They played a weird tactic, didn't they? I don't know if they started doing this recently. That was John Brayford in the middle of that three.
It was.
He spent his entire career as a right back.
Yes. Sheffield United.
Yeah. So I thought I used to think he'd be quite a good fullback for us a few years ago, but I thought that was really weird. And I remember, do you remember we lost Peterborough 1-0 when old Clark Harris boots penalty into the North Stand behind closed doors? They done that tactic as well. They had a right back in the middle. So I don't know whether Jimmy Floyd had, seen that and taken some inspiration from that at some point. There's maybe a formation Burton could utilise. But yeah, I just thought that was a bit of a weird tactic from them yesterday. Instead of just trying to have someone good with the ball in the middle of the park out of defence.
Well, it could be a simple case of a right back that's getting on in a few years and lost maybe a little bit of half a yard of pace. So you move him. Look at Jamie Carragher. The longer he played on, the more he slid himself into the centre of the the back. But he's started as a right back.
Just because he hasn't got the height, as like you say.
Great beard though, from memory.
Yeah. Really
proper, proper beard. Joey Richardson. Ben Moore. We can in our own way affecting above us by winning our games and putting pressure on them. Gov, do you think our goal difference will come into play? Asked Matt Stannard. I do. I think when you're chasing, everything has to be brought into play.
Plus 14, are we?
We are. Plus 14, 52, 30. We're not doing too bad, We need to get a few more goals up on Oxford, but we're getting there. Tony B. Aluko was equal man of the match with Jackson for me. A bit to keep the ball and also the quotes of his passes are championship level.
Well, yes, I can see that argument, but I was up celebrating when he was through. That horrendous back pass from their own corner, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And Aluko, Morsey busted it up. We talked about Morsey not scoring or shooting on Friday. He busted it up to get in the box. I was already up celebrating. Colin said to me, you'd have put your mortgage on that pass going to feet, didn't you?
The one pass he definitely has to make, he didn't. That was, you know what I mean? But he needs to add assists and goals to his game as a Luco. Let's be honest, because he hasn't got those yet. I mean, he hasn't scored since Cambridge.
The 2 goals.
Yeah.
Good point. Tony says that was his birthday yesterday, wasn't it? So he's 33.
33.
Does he get another deal? Would you give him a deal to the Championship?
Not for me. You?
You might. I don't know. It's a good head to have around, isn't he? He's obviously a popular figure. He's got a good attitude and that. Maybe, but maybe off the bench, maybe.
Yeah, James Hobson. I think if we're playing 2 strikers, Pigs and Cage are the only pair that truly complement each other with their own attributes. Good point. It's a fair point. Absolutely fair point. I'm going to drop a link now in the chat. If you want to come on and have your say on anything to do with Ipswich Town Football Club, please do feel free to do so. The back 4. I say 4, Walton, Burns, Wolf and Edmondson. Yeah, they kind of picking themselves these days. Talk to me about those 4, because no goal conceded in 7 hours now? That's ridiculous at any level.
So that was the Sheffield Wednesday game.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking? Oh, Aluko scored at Portsmouth, says Lewis Vinton.
That was after Cambridge, or not?
Yeah,
that was before Cambridge. Sorry, that was before Cambridge, was it not? After, I think. Don't know. No, that was before. That was before.
Maybe.
I'm sure that was before. Anyway, move on.
3 goals this season, anyway. Yes, that is picking itself. Absolutely. You must be a bit frustrated if you Burgess. Looking for a lot of money and he can't get a sniff. Actually, after that Cambridge game, wasn't it? It was when he kind of fell out a little bit to bring it full circled out. Yeah, I mean, look. That's what I said at the top of the show, really, wasn't it? That kind of picks itself, those defenders. Yet we've got a really good attacking threat. Yet we've never really kind of found the magic formula with them. But it certainly feels like that 3 is, and Walton behind them is great. And I agree with your colleague yesterday. It must have been very difficult to be a keeper in those conditions, because it's absolutely teaming it down, wasn't it? It was windy, it's cold. You've got spells where we're really on top, and Walton is just, running around the box a little bit, trying to keep himself on his toes a little bit. It's difficult. And then he had to get called in, didn't he? To make
great save from the free kick. Really good save. Really good save. Just to clarify the point above, Portsmouth was literally 3 days later.
Oh right, okay. He had a great.
So
week.
we're still not talking. We're still talking a long time.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like it was like a month ago. It was
October, wasn't it? Yeah.
the 19th.
What a great week he had.
Absolutely, yeah. But yes, Walton, hell of a save from the. That's why you need a good goalkeeper. Saves you 12 points a season, because if they score there, yesterday could have gone a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we never know, but yeah, it could have been. certainly under Cook, we saw that when we conceded, the ball became a hot potato a little bit, didn't it? And it was like panic stations. And I feel like probably a bit more of a composed character, isn't he, McKenna? So maybe there is a little bit more calm around it, rather than if we do concede, it's you're worried you're going to lose the game or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you think back to Biakowski, don't you? Your big thing is that had we not had him, we could have been relegated sooner.
Well, what I think we would have done a year or two earlier. I mean,
it was what, Player of the Year 3 times on the trot. I'd probably vote. I really vote for goalkeepers in Player of the Years, but I think I probably did vote for him those 3 years, which says a lot about everybody else on the team in those seasons, doesn't it?
I really vote for Player of the Year unless he's actually done something of credit, like finishing fourth season in the Championship. While that seems exciting now, necessarily wasn't. Did he deserve Player of the Year? I don't know. But yeah, Wolfenden didn't get enough love for me yesterday in the post-game show. He got an 8.5. He got an 8.5. But it was very much a good game, played well, 8.5. Let's not underestimate what Slim Shady did yesterday. I mean, the hair needs addressing. But
look, he looks a bit weird with black hair and a beard.
I would have given him nearly a 9 if it's down to me. I think, because I really think he has made that position his own. That centre of the back 3/4, and recent weeks has been playing head and shoulders above Janoy and above George. That's not to knock either of those two either side of him. That's to say how good he's been.
Yeah, I agree with you. Look, I was probably one of them, and Rich as well, saying we didn't really think Wolfen didn't have much of a career left at Portman Road. Again, it just shows you what can happen when change comes, or new thinking comes in, or new tactics that going to suit you better. Maybe that will happen with Joe Pigott. Maybe Ipswich isn't a good fit for him. He'll go back to someone else and score to 20 goals again. You just don't know, do you? It's all about, you've got to be comfortable in your surrounds a little bit. And Wolfenden's obviously loving life, playing in front of Walton and in either side, of Janoy and Edmondson. Yeah.
What he's really added to his game, though, for me, has been communication. It takes a lot to be a middle of a 3, because you've got to be constantly talking and constantly issuing instruction. Now, obviously, Walton behind helps with that, but his communication over the last couple of months, I'm not saying this is down to McKenna, I'm not saying it isn't, it's just really improved. And maybe that's age, Matt. Maybe he's getting more comfortable the more he plays football and the more experience he gets in the adult game.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, he came into the team as a young lad. You do develop, you do mature. I don't know if he's married or he's got a family. That changes you again, I think, in terms of being settled. Perhaps he's, like we say, he's got Janoy one side and the Fridge the other side. Good communicators. Maybe they're helping him. They're giving him the inspiration to push on. I mean, you're making good points, because to most fans, you wouldn't really look at that, would you? You take good defending as kind of like a given, don't you? And it can be overlooked. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, you ain't got good defenders, you're going to concede and you're not going to win games. So I mean, it's a really great point. And it's good to see, as you said, I've not been Wolfenden's greatest fan over probably the last couple of seasons. Happy to be proved wrong. It's great to see. Love it.
It is, really. And again, we're all about complementing each other. And I remember reading an article about Brentford and their transfer recruitment policy. It's about bringing player A in and then finding out what player A can't do to bring player B in to do it. So you've got that complementing styles. You've got
you love that, don't you? You love that kind of approach, which is we've not seen at Ipswich for.
Because it's common sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Too many times teams don't seem to follow the common sense approach. But with George and with Luke, with the Slim Shady and George, you've got two players that complement each other just amazingly well. What George can't do, Luke does really well, and what Luke can't do, George more than makes up for it. It's a really good partnership and gives you a solid base to go forward. And I kept saying, this is a player that Palace wanted. This is a player that had a potential. We can't just throw that away. And I'm glad we didn't in the end, Matt. I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you could have the same argument at Donatien, couldn't you? Not fancied by brought in by Hurst in the debacle of the season. put in the skip by Lambert for historical reasons. Presuming it went back to their time at Aston Villa, and then goes on a couple of loans, doesn't he? Where was it? Accrington and Fleetwood. Suddenly come back, and we're talking about him as a potential player of the year candidate.
Played right back there at Fleetwood.
Yeah, well, that's one of his strengths, I think. I mean, he played. He was bought originally as a left back, came in on the right here, didn't he? Now he's on the right side of the three. It just shows you how adaptable he is. I mean, that little celebration he did with Burns yesterday, they kind of bowed to each other in like a regal way.
Yeah, absolutely. After Wes Burns destroys his kneecaps on the slide. I mean, it looked good, and then it was just sort of
kind of goal that, wasn't it? It kind of bloops in the air, looked like it might go over.
Good finish. Keep it going that way. You're always taught to get back across him because he's got no chance with the flat foot. But yeah, I think Janoi has struggled with the fact he's been a jack of all trades, master of not one.
Yeah.
Lambert viewed him as a centre half. I think Fleetwood obviously played him at right back. Paul Hurst, I think his debut, he came on and played centre half. Like, no one's ever really known where you play Janoi Donatian.
Going back in the day, Mickey Stockwell was a bit like that. Played all positions, but could play them really well. And any a much loved character that come through the ranks, I suppose. But I totally agree with you. But I mean, you've got to celebrate utility players a little bit, haven't you? I think. Oh
gosh, yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That's one of his strengths. But it also means you're perhaps not you're more of a squad player because you can do the 3 or 4 positions and. Are you viewed as the number one centre half? But he's definitely, defensively made that right-sided position his own.
Shows character and bottle, I think, to be able to sort of step up and say, I'll play left back if needed. I'll play right back if needed. I'll play the right side for free if needed. Because, a lot of players might shirk away from that responsibility. That shows you a good team player, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, before bringing Stephen, just Wolfenden, player with potential. Were told he could go. Fans didn't seem bothered, which surprised me a little bit because the year before, when we heard that he might be going, we were like all up and upset, and we can't sell our best players. Classic Marcus Evans, blah blah blah. Yeah. And then he's just back doing what he was doing, and fans are now re-aware that this is a guy that
debut under McCarthy. He did, didn't he?
Yeah, right back at Palace, wasn't it? In the Milk Trophy or whatever it was called at the time.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that really youthful side. We've got Kiwi Tractor Boy. McKenna puts players where they belong and are comfortable, therefore confident. Cook and Lambert consistently play players out of position. Roy Clark, as McKenna said, because we are giving the ball more, it takes the pressure off the back three. Yes, I want to mention Evans, if not today, definitely tomorrow, because I think him in front of those back three really provides something that we, as fans, didn't necessarily realise. But I'll bring in Stephen Parry first of all. Mr. Parry.
Hi, Steve. Hiya.
How are you doing?
I think, to be honest, that was probably, I know we've had some good results this season, but collectively as a team, that was probably one of the best games I've seen us play, especially considering Burton coming on a high. I know against Bolton, Bolton were their own worst enemy, but they came here, they were buzzing, they were confident, there was all the talk about that Nias who just signed for them. We all know was never going to start, And they came with the confidence, and we just came after 1 minute, said, "There's your confidence, piss off," And from that on, it just set the tone, And it was spoke about that, the first goal was going to be key, and the early exchanges were going to be key. And if they got on top in them early exchanges, it could have been completely different. They could have done a Bolton, but they didn't. And you could see it at the back. Every time someone was heading it out at a corner, whether it were Burns, whether it were one of the defenders, were coming out, shaking their hand and saying, "Well done." And they're all together as a unit defending. And I think that's why we're averaging in 10 games, less than half a goal a game on average. And when you're scoring 1.6, you're going to win. It's as simple as that. Might only be 1.6 goals a game going in, but if you're only conceding less than half a goal, you're going to win. And
absolutely,
that everybody seems to be all on the same page. I can't deny. I think Piggott played well. I've not been his greatest fan, but
I saw a 3 on social media. Steve,
nobody for me gets less than a 5. No, exactly. and that's being cruel. I don't think anybody gets a 5 yesterday. I think everybody did their job. everyone wants to try and criticise someone because no one wants to say it's a perfect performance. But I think everybody was given a job. Everybody had a role. Even Selena when he came on, everybody had a role and they all did their job. And we saw the result. That game could have been 5-6 quite easily. Morsey had one virtually near enough cleared off the line. Norwood should have scored. We had one disallowed. Pickett hit the post. It could have been a massacre. But the only reason it wasn't, is because a bit of bad luck came our way. But everybody was playing to their strengths. Everybody had a role, and I think Pickett's role was to take some of the heat off Kayden, so Kayden could get into those positions. And you could see every time a long ball was played, it was played to Kayden. Hence, he got 2 assists. And I think that was Pickett's role. It was to take the defenders away from him, giving him that space for the ball to get to him. And sometimes you don't notice what people do. And I think that's why Evans gets a lot of the flack that he gets. People don't notice the work that he does because it's not the sexy stuff. And nobody cares about the non-sexy stuff. But as I always say, you always need a water carrier. You always need those people in your team. Whether they were a Scouse, whether it was like N'Golo Kante at Chelsea. These people are vital. Yeah. Because you don't see them on the score sheet very often. You don't see them on the assist sheet very often. But what they do for the team is just as important because they set the play up. And I'll tell you what, I thought Evans was good yesterday. He took the odd beating, and I thought Morsey was improved massively. I thought, he's still running at players, but he was looking to have a shot. The other day, I don't think he was looking for a shot. I think he was looking for a pass. I think yesterday, every time he looked direct, he had a couple of attempts, but he was looking to try and get a goal, and he was hungry, and I like that. I want to see more of that because he can get the ball up the field, but he can also hit the ball as well. Because that first one, that was going in. If that defender hadn't been a defender, that would have gone in. So I just consider that a complete performance. I know we've had some better performances, but you could say like Doncaster and things like that, and Wickham, but it was
they were bottom of the table, whereas Burton arrived with a bit of confidence. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. That was a more overall team performance, and you could see that was coached. And I also think that it was a point I made earlier is the way Matt. You sometimes say that I don't think we've got to start. I think we do. Don't think the pitch helps. I think we do. We do want to we do want to pass. We do want to try and break the lines. You can see what we're trying to do. I think sometimes the ball goes a bit faster than some of the players' heads. They're not quite with it. That will come. Or maybe the right players aren't here yet. We don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think if the pitch gets done at the end of the year, which is what said that will be done, that will help as well. Because we'll always know, no matter whether we're playing at our ground, we're going to have a perfect pitch to play on. And that's what we need.
Yeah.
It is under McKenna, definitely. Look, Stephen, we probably had one of the more famous moments in Talking Town with the Christian Walton transfer show. You said about Bolton during the week. Now, that could have obviously sharpened some minds at Portman Road as the threat Burton possessed. But from my perspective, first 10, we were spot on, really at it. Second 10 in the first half, Bolton was starting to come into it. And that's when I think Walton made that save. Talk to me about how important that moment in the game was.
Was that the clearance off the line?
That was the save from the free kick where it's just bent around the wall. It's a hell of a save.
I was going to say I thought the clearance off the line. I thought it was Evans, wasn't it? I think
that was.
It was, yeah.
But moments like that are key because they can turn a game. It's only 1-0, and at the end of the day, a goal goes in. They're on the high, we're on the low.
Exactly.
And that's what you get from a good keeper. We can all sit there and say, oh well, this person. But it goes back to a point you said before, about when you've got a particular player and he's deficient in certain qualities, you have to get somebody else in who can nullify those negative points. But for that, you need to spend money because before you might not be able to get in the bargain basement. You might not be able to get those players who can nullify those negative things. So it's a hodgepodge, and you might be getting one player, but you got to get another player who doesn't quite do that job. So that's why I think now we're able to target more because we can spend, because we can buy, and we can target our players better. And I think that will make all round. I think that, like Milt's had a good point. He said at the end of that, it's only 10 games. and it's still a building process. It is. And I said to him, look, at the end of the day, yeah, but it's exciting now after 10 games. What's it going to be like after 18 months, 2 years? We'll have some infrastructure built. We'll have a team that's more better. We might even have got a promotion. This could snowball very quickly. And I think we need to be grounded. We need to be realistic that the season's going to be very tough. You've got to understand, you've got Sunderland, they might get dragged into it. They're out the playoff zone. Their next 2 games are very tough. They've got Burton and Wigan, and we could catch them up quite easily with 2 wins. We get 2 wins and they don't win in their next 2. Sunderland back in play. You know what I mean? So it's not just about Oxford. I think a lot of teams have got, even Plymouth have got to play a lot in the top 8. Even though they've got games in hand, I think most of the games that they played have been against the bottom lower sides. They've got to play like the top a lot in the last 13 games. I think most of them in the top 8.
Yeah,
so they've got a tough running. So it's not going to be. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, but it's not by any way, shape, or form. Dead as a doornail yet. And I think the next 2 to 3 weeks is going to be key.
Absolutely. Stephen, before I let you go, some really good points there as always. We do love having you on the show. I'm going to ask you the 2 questions from the quiz book, Football for Brains. We have got 387 in the book. When was the last time Man United went out of the Champions League at the group stage? A, 2014-15, B, 15-16, C, 16-17, or D, 17-18? What are you saying, Steve?
I'll go C because I don't know anything about United.
C? No, well, sorry. Most United fans don't either.
I hate United.
I wouldn't worry about that.
I live about 35 miles away from Manchester United. I hate United with a passion.
And which NFL American football team did Clive Allen play for?
Denver Broncos. I don't know.
Okay, right. Steve, as always, I will reveal those answers very shortly. We love having you on. We'll speak to you soon. Hello, you lovely lot. I am here very quickly to discuss Woodpecker Mortgages and Protection, run by Ipswich Town fan Graham. So you're in good hands if you go with Woodpecker Mortgages and Protection. I want to discuss the income protection service they do with you. You all know me and you all know my story. Literally, one day I went out into that big wide world, the scary world, and I had an injury which left me disabled and unable to work. Just like that, I lost my income. Just like that. That's a click there. Crazy. This may have been an answer to a prayer, because obviously when you can't work, you can't earn. And when you can't earn, your bills are still going to be there wanting to be paid, like children needing to be fed. This could have been an answer to my prayer and taken some stress away from me and let me focus on my mental and physical health. Income protection insurance, it's not for everybody, but it might be for you. So give Graham a call on 01636 337 447 or email graham@woodpeckermortgages.co.uk. And I must say, your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up repayments on your mortgage. You know it makes sense, you lovely people. And if anything else, you're supporting and helping a fellow Ipswich Town fan, which is what we should all be doing. It is 2022.
Slowly.
Right. Questions, answers. Matt, what have you got for me? What year did Man United last go out the Champions League group stage? What do you think?
I'm going to go with A.
Okay.
2014,
Chat, let me know. Do you think it's A, B, C, or D? And which NFL team did Clive Allen play for?
I'm pretty certain he went over as a kicker. I'm going to go Dolphins.
Dolphins. Okay. Let me know in the chat and I will reveal the answer. But first of all, let's give away a copy of this wonderful, wonderful book before we bring touch some more Ipswich Town chat. Here are the wheel of names. As you can see, they are there. 10 names from yesterday's prediction league to win a copy of Football for Brains by Stephen End. You can, of course, get this on eBay. It's still available. Proceeds, I'm not sure how much of the proceeds, but I do know some of the proceeds go towards dementia charities, I believe it is. So well worth, scores, tackling dementia in football. So well worth getting a copy. Right, here we go. Are you ready, Matthew Phillips? Let's see who wins a copy of Stephen End's wonderful Football for Brains. It is new player, Jay Brace. Look at that. Jay, get in contact with Talking Town's social media accounts. Look at that. First time player, Matt. Plays it, I imagine, for the book. Boom. He wins it. Right.
Nice. There you go. We've really got our money's worth out of that, Will.
We certainly have, yeah. Right. The Champions League question. It is, in fact, Hox has got it spot on. It's B.
Oh, God damn it.
2015-16. and the American football team that Clive Allen played for, YouTube member Matt Stannard on the money, London Monarchs. A bit of a trick question, that one, really, isn't it? Yeah.
I thought you said NFL team.
Look, it's a trick question because it is an NFL team. It is an American football team. I actually said 4-4-1. Which NFL American football team did Clive Allen play for? And the answer was London Monarchs.
Didn't they used to call them European NFL or something? I'm sure something was prefixed.
Look, don't get fucking technical with me, all right, on a Sunday afternoon before me Sunday roast.
Matt said it. I remember that.
But look, well done, Jay Brace. Congratulations on winning that. 60 seconds that took to enter that prediction league, Matt, and it's paid dividends for Jay.
Yeah, happy days.
What can you say? Absolutely. Right. Let's bring George Huggins in. George, you were in the director's box yesterday. Talk to us. How did you see the game?
Yeah, it was very good in there. It was
good. Is it nice padded seats like MK?
Yeah, you just walk straight out. It's right in the middle there, and you just walk straight out and you sit down. And I was sat right in the middle, and Ashton was sat right at the front.
Oh, yes, he would be next to, and is it Andy Rolls or Costin who's sitting next to? I know he sits next to.
No, he was with
somebody.
He was next to a dart player because a dart player was there, weren't he? Yesterday.
I wasn't there myself, George. I don't know.
Don't know.
What did you make of the game, George?
Yeah, well, Ashton predicted it to me. It would be 3-0 before it kicked off.
Well, there you go. Mark Ashton on the money, Matt.
Yeah, very good. I said 2-0 on Friday night. Maybe I should have said 3-0, but I mean, yeah, all good, isn't it?
Kevin Painter, says Adam and Matt Stannard. Kevin Painter, there you go. Was that who we sat next to, George? Kevin Painter, the good old dart player?
No, I saw him, and I saw what's that other dart player that goes? There was another dart player there in the box.
Keith Della, there you go. Now, you're testing my knowledge here. You're testing my knowledge. I know I've started up a darts podcast, George, but I'm still new to the world of darts.
That's why Russ Bray was on the. Was that Russ Bray on the PA at half time? Did 180.
Could well have, George. We lost George. George, come back to us. Don't leave us in the middle of dart knowledge. I'm learning here.
While I was going to the loo and getting a drink and that, someone was doing 180 on the PA.
Okay. There you go.
And I think it was Russ Bray.
That geezer, he's been doing it. He's probably one of the best things about darts. You know, I was watching it Thursday. 180. And he got 105. He goes 105.
Yeah, he
really...
comes to Gorman Road quite a lot. I think he's a Millwall fan actually. He's like a friend of like the guy off MasterChef, Greg Wallace. I think that's his mate. But they've been spotted before in the director's box. Yeah,
there you go. So we have some darts players.
This is now adding up to why he was on the mic.
You could say we had darts in the stand and the players were right on the bullseye on the pitch. Boom. There you go. Particularly Kayden Jackson with that finish. Still can't get over it. A really nice finish. While we wait to see if George returns back to us, let's do our weekly goats. What has got your goat this week? I want to know what has got you riled in the chat. What particularly about this week has got your back up?
I've got two goats really. Obviously, Storm Eunice has caused havoc at the Media Mogul Mansion.
You and Storm Eunice, man.
Yeah, so I lost me roof tile off the roof. Been up there like 80 years or whatever. Huge.
You've only heard about 4 times, Matt. My goat is you. That bloody roof tile. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
Plummets down, falls in the hedge, which now means I'm going to have to get someone in. This is not my world of getting tradesmen in. But what I've noticed around Chelmsford, and people have got all their got the livery on their vans and all that, and they've got the number and all that, and they've got a website address and email. How outdated a lot of people email addresses are these days. For example, Lambert Landscaping, pretend that was a business. Often you'll see something, Lambert Landscaping 9763@tiscali.info. Come on, you got to change it up. It's 2022. It's got to be changed up, isn't it? So, yeah, tradesmen with inappropriate email addresses. That doesn't fill me with confidence.
You mean You mean incorrect, not inappropriate?
Yeah, well, would you employ somebody with a ridiculous email address? You'd go, oh, I can't be bothered. I can't remember that one.
I wouldn't
exactly
email people. I'd phone them.
You don't even phone me.
I would phone a fucking tradesman if I had to get some work done.
Well, I'm going to have to. Anyone know any
you
good roofers in Chelmsford? Please let me know.
I tell you, I'm going to have to get somebody and put my cupboards up that Rich brought around because the wife she's not happy. She don't want to do it. She's not doing it.
These are going in the garage, aren't they?
Yeah, going in the bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, in the bedroom.
So if you know any good carpenters, I've also got another job that needs doing. Let me know. Right, we've got Gavin says the storm blew his fence down. Shocking. Depends if you don't want to pay for it, just tell the neighbour it's their fence. I mean, you know.
Is Tiscali even still a thing? NTL World, that used to be one, didn't it? Tiscali,
NTL, yeah. Neil Perk says the storm. Sarah Davis, Greater Anglia Trains.
Yeah.
Matt Stan up the stairs in the SBRL. The Sir Bobby Robson lower. When wet, needs some get grips. Adam, my go to people turn up expecting a roast dinner. You have to do more veg and you get less crackling. Oh, less crackling. Put your foot down, Ad. Put your foot down. Tell him you're not a restaurant. That's what I was, you know. Only costs £100 a year to have your own domain and email, says Callie. Only £100 quid, says Callie. Callie, only £100 ?
Have info at Lambert Landscapes. That's what you should have. Not all this Tiscali.
Tiscali is now Talk.
Right, okay.
So it would still be applicable. But why are you emailing tradesmen? Pick up the blower and say, "Oi, I got a roof needs fixing. Get yourself."
I would, but I just feel like you've got to update. It's bad for marketing. It's bad for marketing, and it needs updating. Exactly.
On a roof,
says, like URLs easy to get these days.
Speakers at Portman Road, says EJ Norris.
I am going to go anywhere near the bloody roof, Ian. Let me say that right now.
No, well, it's like climbing Everest, isn't it, for you? As Ian
that's
says.
What he's put on here.
My goat is this habit that companies have got into, TV production companies, of remaking things that were great in the past or reimagining. So I was watching this morning for an hour, Bel Air.
Right. I've heard this is good.
It was all right. But I'll tell you what would have been better if you'd done the story as a standalone, nothing to do with the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Because all you kept doing, or all I kept doing, was, that's not Uncle Phil. That's not the housekeeper.
Yeah.
I didn't think Hillary could cook, let alone want to get a now chip, let alone was a fabulous chef as they've got her in this remake. Whatever happened, they do it all the time in films. They remake a film, like Power Rangers was remade. Why not just get some new fucking ideas and write some new stuff that has nothing to do with stuff in the past and leave my childhood and leave my wonderful memories where they should be?
Well, you can still watch it on the original on Netflix. Is it on Netflix? Right,
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
but Will Smith's behind this new one, isn't he? This Bel Air. So it's done as a drama, isn't it?
The guy who plays Will, which I haven't looked into who plays the roles, but the guy who plays Will, incredible actor. Absolutely incredible actor. But I just, like when they introduced Jazz, obviously the guy gets getting thrown out of the door in the. I don't want to know how they really met. I don't want to know that he was really the taxi driver in the song. That's just ruining. It's a really good story. You could have done a story about a guy who lives in an American city, has to move into his rich parent or rich family's mansion, and you could have, as Callie says, Saved by the Bell also remade. WTAF. What's going on?
All do what they've. Look, Mike's right. They've done Wonder Years as well. I used to like that on Channel 4. That's on Disney Plus. But all do what they've done with the Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid thing. What the story further down into the current times. So what would Will Smith be doing now? Exactly. Yeah.
Just leave it alone. Just make new stories. Is it that hard to come up with?
It's quite good to revisit, to think, what those characters be doing now. But yeah, like you say, they've just reimagined it as a drama, haven't they? Yeah.
It's like The Sopranos. I watched The Many Saints of Newark, the prequel. It was okay. But a lot of it, you just spent a lot of time comparing, well, that's not Seal. He's acting nothing like Paulie. And you just spend the whole time of the hour, or I did this morning anyway, saying that is not how I saw. That is not how I remembered. That is not what I thought the story was telling me about that character. And Neil Perks, there you go. Remake of Saved by the Bell, nowhere near as good. James Hudson petitions are made by those who fund new shows, not creators. So they go for safe, absolutely. But being creative about stepping out of the box, isn't it, Matt? And not being safe, and just if it works, great, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But there we go. So they're now in the chat. Goats, Matt versus Rich this week. No cruncher. Fisherman, is
Hi,
your
Mike.
goat Kayden Jackson proving you wrong?
Great to see you.
I thought he had a really, really good game yesterday. I've been his biggest critic, probably actually, mind you saying that. I think half the Talking Town, half the fan base have probably been his biggest critic when it comes to his performance. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. Let's just remember this is one game, and we've got to, he's got to prove this on a consistent basis. But, he is capable of having these performances, hence why, someone like Bournemouth were looking at him, weren't they? The last season, in the last season, whatever. My biggest issue is finding is he's been played out of position a lot, hasn't he?
Yes, as a winger.
Yeah, and that is my goat. If that's my biggest scope when it comes to modern style football. You've got players like Rashford playing out on the left, or out wide, and you've got Jackson and Norwood being played out wide, and they're strikers for a reason. Play them in a more natural position, and you will get goals from them. But Jackson yesterday it wasn't. But if you go back to his last game, again headers chicken mode, and that's the way I was looking at him, and I thought, oh, here we go again today. From straight off, the goal helped. I agree totally. I think the goal helped him greatly. But then it weren't just his movement was really good. You could see the way he was. The defence really didn't know which way or where he was going to be, because 1 minute he'd be out on the left, 1 minute he'd be down the middle. And I think when you've got a player that has suddenly got this confidence because he scored, he probably, like I said, it was a 9 out of 10. I thought he was man of the match. And I never thought I'd ever be giving Kayden Jackson man of the match. Yeah. I was disappointed in Piggott again. I'm not going to lie. I gave him a 6. I did do some thought about it long and hard, and I gave Piggott a 6. Jackson was a 9, a good 9 as well. Thought Burns had a good game. Walton had a brilliant game again. I think Wolfie had a good 8.5 out of 10. But for me, the weakest link in the whole team, if there was one, was probably Piggott. I just can't see him being here next season. I really can't. I just don't think it's too cumbersome as a forward. But look, we won 3-0, and first half I thought we were lucky to go in at 1-1. I thought we're lucky to go in 1-0. Burton had some great chances, played some good football. Yeah. Really dangerous on the set pieces. Crowded the box, made it really sort of hard to defend against. The second half, we were different gravy, weren't we?
Yeah.
The second half was just ridiculous, and we thoroughly deserved the 3-0 win. Could have been 6. And look, it was probably the best complete performance I've seen this season. And it was only 3-0.
Yeah.
Cumbersome for Joe Piggott. Is that what you said? Cumbersome.
Cumbersome, yeah.
Matt, cumbersome for Joe.
What do you think McKenna's asking him to do in the games then, Mike? What do you think his role is in that position?
Well, Piggott's role is a striker to either hold the ball up or flick a ball on, or get in the box himself. He was unlucky to hit the post, but I just can't help but see Sam Parkin in him. I can't help it. It's just I was speaking to Colin, and we both agree that for some reason or whatever, it's not working for him here. And look, if he suddenly comes good, then great. But look at Macaulay Bond banging him in now. Can't score for love or money. Piggott,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he is cumbersome. Yeah, I find him very. I do find him very cumbersome as a forward. It's just your opinion. I get that everybody has an opinion, but I wanted Piggott here. Me and Cruncher at the beginning of the season, when new owners took over that, we said we need to get Piggott in. He's a quality. He's banged in God knows how many goals, but he hasn't really been given a chance. I get that. So there is an argument on that side of things. but he has played a few games now, and I'm still struggling to see how he was. You know, maybe he doesn't fit our style of play. Maybe he was more suited to Wimbledon. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all about fits, isn't it? But yeah, look, I said about Sam Parkin when he signed as well. I was worried that might happen, so I've said that as well. But I thought he did all right yesterday, Mike. To be honest, I feel like he did hold the ball up and he did bring other players into the game. But yeah, you're not alone in thinking
there was times when he did. There was times when he did hold it, but there was times where it's kind of bounced off his foot. And
yeah,
I just find it. I know that. Look, he still had a good 6 out of 10, which is better than the 5 and the 4s he has been having. So maybe he is improving. Maybe he'll get better. I don't want to be too critical because yesterday it was a really good performance as a team. Forget about individuals. As a team, I thought that was a really good performance.
Yeah.
You know, the back three were brilliant. The 5 across the middle were brilliant. You know, and even like I said, even though I felt it was more of a 6 sort of type performance, still did okay. Did well enough to help the team. And Jackson for me was yesterday. It was like, well, he went from headless chicken to Ronaldo in one game. That was ridiculous.
Steady. Now who's getting carried away with himself?
Look, in one game. Hence the one game.
Yeah. You say it's a team performance, and you're absolutely right. But your player of the year so far has been Janoy Donatian. Has anybody stepped forward recently to challenge the Don, in your opinion, to that player?
Why would you challenge him? He's a consistent 7 out of 10 every week. Isn't that what we strive for as
I don't mean
fans?
challenge him for a place. I mean challenge him in the award of Player of the Year. So has anybody stepped forward recently with some good form and put themselves among the conversation? Is what I'm really asking.
Oh, right, I'm with you. Look, I mean, Wolf has improved, but JD's been consistent from the very start. It's all about from the start for me. So for me, Donatian has been the most consistent player because he's been consistently between 6.5 and 7 every week. So that for me at the moment is, you know, I know Bond was scoring goals and everything, but you know that's dried up now, and I still think for me the player, okay, you could like youth football, you have the players player of the year and parents player of the year, and then you have what they call the most improved player. Maybe you could put Donatian down as the most improved player of the year. I don't know. You know, for me, I think he's been absolutely solid. He gets forward. He's got 4 assists.
Yes.
You know, and I do think there's a good shout for him to get player of the season. Who else could there be? You know,
okay. Yeah, you think JD?
Say, really,
Matt? Anybody else? So the chat, Lee Anderson, Walton for him, Callie, Wolfie, JD on Morsey.
Walton, you can't give. Look, Walton has had good games, and I get that, Lee. I get that, buddy. I understand he's been playing well, but you know, Donatian has been the most consistent. Walton got his first game of the season was picking 5 balls out in the back of the net.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I struggle with it because me and you both know how we felt about the previous manager. I struggle to really blame anybody early part of the year for anything but trying to find their feet because it's proved with McKenna, hasn't it, Mike? Bit of tactical thinking, and we're such a better unit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. McKenna's certainly. You know, we all were saying at the very beginning, you know, Cook's experience, and he's got all this experience coming. I said it all along. You know, he's too loud, constantly shouting on the sidelines. It was like watching under, you know, like a youth coach with under eights playing. You know, let the boys play, let them express themselves, give them some freedom, and look how the difference is. Have a bit of tactics, which is something that obviously he's got, and you know. Did I think he got the tactics wrong against MK Dons? Yeah, I did. But it doesn't mean to say I think he's a crap manager or I want him to go, as some people thought. Look, at the end of the day is, tactically yesterday, we were brilliant. Yeah. You know, we were set up right. We, you know, and McKenna, for me, I love the fact he just sits there on the sideline, watches the game, and lets the boys relax, lets the boys play, let them express themselves. And I think that is a huge difference between where we were at the start of the season to where we are now. I think if we'd had Keller at the start of the season, we'd be top of the league. I ain't going to lie.
Possibly, yeah. Well, the results speak for themselves. But is it hard, Matt, to really pinpoint Christian Walton out of the Player of the Year running almost because of that debut? I mean, it wasn't all down to him. The Fridge didn't play well that day either.
No.
Does Walton enter the conversation for you?
Well, we've still got games to go. I still feel like, that person who might get us into the playoffs or score the winning goal, whatever it might be, that would come into the frame most likely. But I think Walton certainly kept us in the game, Mike, at MK, didn't he, with that free kick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's been pretty. Look, I was critical of Walton. Again, brilliant. Again, very good yesterday. I was critical of him, especially after his first 3 games. I thought, oh, my days, did he know better than? To me, he didn't look no better than Hladky, but now he's settled and different manager, and he looks different. Again, looks different gravy. Or we use that word a lot, but he does. It's different gravy, and and I think he's probably proving now. I would say now under McKenna that he's probably the best keeper we've had in a while since Bart.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's struggled to argue.
The guy who's next to me, David, was saying to me in the game yesterday, goes, how did we ever get Walton from Brighton? Because we know Luton was sniffing around, and he said to me, he's worth his weight in gold. And he absolutely is. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's definitely. Absolutely. And I think when you've got a keeper performing consistently, and you've got a defence. I mean, Fridge hasn't had great games of late, but he has. Yesterday he was brilliant. A really good, solid display. And I think he'll probably be the first to admit that, he maybe hadn't been playing well. But the back three again looks so solid, and another clean sheet. And we just don't. I know sometimes luck plays a part, but I just don't look like we're going to concede a goal, and yet we look so dangerous going forward now.
Yeah.
We've always been a bit dangerous going forward, obviously, because we were scoring goals for the sort of fun in the early part of the campaign. It's defensively that he's brought that stability and that structure into it.
Yeah.
We've got James Hobson, McKenna for ITFC Manager of the Year. Graham Saint still can't understand why Nor's on the bench all the time. Crazy.
He should have scored yesterday, shouldn't he?
Again, another terrible miss. Is it surprising, Mike, before we sort of wrap up, that he came onto the scene, scored enough in every game he was a part of, and suddenly he's now almost on the outside looking in those striker positions?
When he moved out a couple of times, though, wasn't he? After he'd been scoring them goals, he was moved out a bit sort of left,
inside left.
Yeah, he was.
And that's not Norwood's position. And when we talk about Jackson having pace, I think Norwood's probably just as quick. So look, if Jackson probably the 80th minute, he looked tired. He'd run his socks off, and credit to the lad,
absolutely.
And I think, like I said, for me, I think Norwood probably could have come on maybe sort of 70 minutes. Maybe he would have put a goal in the back of the net. But look, we won 3-0. We can't complain about that result. And I'm certainly not. Like I said, I've been critical of players, but Morsey, he's come back in. He's started to. For me, I'm looking at him now. I'm thinking, maybe you are this captain we need. Maybe you are this captain we hope. Because he is now starting to communicate more with the players. You'll see on the, we should sit there and watch Fridge do more of the talking than Morsey. But now Morsey's doing a lot more talking, and but you could argue, actually talking about player of the season, you could argue Evanson's done well, hasn't he?
Yeah. Although he's had big dips for me, and then
he's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Expert muting there, by the way, Mr. Phillips with the cough. We picked up on that. Great bit of muting. Mike, before I let you go, we'll cover this more on tomorrow night's 8:30 show with Alex and Miltray. But who's the combo up front for you Tuesday night?
Look, why change a winning side? But I've said this before, and it hasn't been the case. Look,
True.
right now, Jackson's earned his place. He should stay in the team. If he's out, I'll be shocked. You know, he's earned his place. He's earned his place to play Tuesday. Really, though.
This is it.
Kieran McKenna, we don't know what he's going to do, and I love that because with Paul Cook and Paul Lambert, you could predict the team, couldn't you? Pretty much.
With most managers, really, when you're winning and playing well, you can. It's a really new way of approaching it, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I agree, Mike. Why would you want to change a winning team? But he might see maybe more of a long ball threat from Cheltenham Mike on Tuesday and change it up there. I mean, it's interesting. Bonding gets some game time, isn't he? Maybe he'll come back into the frame potentially. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I'd like to see Bond start scoring again because I do think he's a good little player. I just think he's, because he's Ipswich through and through. I think the pressure's on him too much.
Yeah.
What I would say is that we will have a clear picture and a plan of how Cheltenham approach games and what to expect, and that obviously heads back to not just McKenna but Martin Pert, Charlie Turnbull, head of analysis, Will Stevenson, who I think is head of performance analysis, something along those lines. Those guys will have the report on Cheltenham, and if we do see changes, this is it.
They've got an interesting game to watch, haven't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, you've got the do's and don'ts.
Well, yeah, I mean, I said this was, like I had a quick chat with Colin this morning. We were talking about the Wickham game, the Wickham game, and I said 5-5. That's just ridiculous, But Wickham for me, I think it's Wickham and Sunderland are the two teams that we need to chase down for that 6th place. Yeah. They're the two teams for me. I think Sunderland's on 3-4, and I think Wickham isn't as good as we know we've beaten twice this season, so.
Yeah,
good to see Alex Neil having the desired effect. Mike, look after yourself, and I mean that. We're always here if you need us. All right.
Thank you. Yeah, no, just one thing before I go. Look, thank you for everyone, all the messages, kind support. It's been a tough week. I've got more tough weeks to come, but I'm okay, and I often bottom of my heart thank you, everyone. All right, I appreciate it.
We love you, Mike. Look after yourself.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers, boy. On the GOAT front. It has been back and it has been forwards all the time. But currently it is Matt 53%, Gov 47%. You've got the closing embers of the show to change that. Come on. Remakes, not new ideas. Come on. Over what?
Don't tolerate shoddy marketing.
Dodgy email accounts. Come on. What is this? This is silly. Cruncher wants a link at fucking 1 minute, 1 hour, 17 into a show. Part-timers, look, coming in late. If you watch the 5-5, they left loads of space in behind. We should batter them, still says Neil Perks. I'll drop a link for Cruncher, but I'm going to round up. You've got literally seconds to click that button, Rich. So we're back tomorrow, 8:30. Myself.
The Mogul story?
You have got more time, Rich. Look at this. Yes, the Mogul story. Go for it. What is it? What is the? Have I seen one this week? What is it?
Well, it's one I had a little while ago, actually. If I can find it. Here we go. All right, Rich.
Hello.
You're just in time to be a Mogul story. So it's one I had a little while ago. It was in the Telegraph, and it was about football DNA. They went through all the Premier League clubs, saying what was their actual supposed DNA, what was their actual DNA, and what was their current managerial suitability. So Norwich's supposed DNA was wholesome, ground-based football, so enshrined it is mentioned in the world's oldest football song, On the Ball City.
Oh, fuck off.
Maybe a bit sick in my mouth there.
In the bin.
Scrimmage, keep it low. Actual current DNA. The following lyric from On the Ball City is not happening so much at the moment. A splendid rush, bravo, win or die. Annoying everyone by either being so terrible in the Premier League or really good in the Championship. Current managerial suitability, just pretend you love mustard. Was what I put on that. So I thought I'd have a little go at doing our own DNA on the back of McKenna here. So my supposed DNA, you're like this, Martin. Stately home of English football. Previous incumbents included Knights of the Realm, who between them conquered Europe and the world, still fondly remembered by those that saw them. Current DNA, despite a brief renaissance, past owners had driven the house and grounds into a sorry state of disrepair until baseball cap-wearing Americans came to the rescue, lifting the gloom with hopes of grand designs. And in managerial suitability, Sorcerer's Apprentice, with a spell book passed down by wizard masters, wise beyond his years, will finally bring that stately home into the 21st century. There you go. That's how I've summed up our DNA. It's better than Norwich's DNA, let me tell you that right now.
There's just getting beat every week. But McKenna's at the wheel says, Rich, I like that. Matt, did you see the TikTok one rather than the DNA? They did what fast food chain a Premier League team was. I haven't seen that.
Not seen that, no.
No, I haven't seen that on TikTok either. Have you, Rich?
I don't really do TikTok
I
a
don't
lot.
really do TikTok. Bollocks.
You could easily waste an hour, can't you? Just going through stuff on there quite easily.
Every day.
Quite easily.
Every day.
Just said, Cruncher, bin him.
Yeah, I should probably, because as Ant still rightly says in the chat. The return of corporate crunch.
Crunch is one of my favourites. Yeah, I love that.
As Matt tweeted, I've been on. What did you tweet this morning?
Well, you've been on undercover operations and podcast business, haven't you, for a future announcement?
Yeah, future announcement. Watch this space. It's a big announcement. It's going to blow everyone's socks off.
Yeah, get the avalanche ready.
Make sure you're wearing socks. Just so you can blown off.
Well, you can't get socks, can you? We've had this discussion before about your socks.
I'm wearing socks right now. Thank you very much. They are a size 10 stretch to the max.
Size 15.
Size 15, yeah.
Chris, did you hear Russ Bray on the PA yesterday, the 180?
Yeah, he was on at half time, wasn't he?
Yeah, I didn't put two.
He's a West Ham fan, Matt. He's a West Ham fan.
Oh, is he West Ham, is he?
Ben,
Yeah.
oh, you call him a Millwall fan. Matt's done a gov.
Greg Wallace is definitely Millwall. Greg Wallace
That's
is
a
definitely
great gov moment. Kieran McKenna, one of Scottish.
Can you clip that up? Can you clip that up for me, please?
I think I will.
We'll drop that. We'll drop that on Twitter and tag Ross Bray in it.
Yeah.
And West Ham United.
The still banned Ben Moore. Sorry, Ben. He just WhatsApped me to say, oh, I've lost it. There he is. Keith Delia and Ryan.
Keith who?
Keith Delia.
Delia?
I don't know. I don't know. Do I? I don't know. You know me.
Anyway, I've missed it. I was out driving a lot yesterday, as you know.
Yesterday's full-time show, he put a comment directly after one of the annoying whatever's spam links, and I meant to ban the spammer, and the button was too slippy, and I banned Ben by accident.
Can't you bring him back?
Well, I thought I had, but apparently not. No. But yes, apparently that's who. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. How did you see, Rich? Very quickly, obviously, we're going to close. But how did you see? What do you want to talk about, basically? What do you want? What do you want?
You spoke about Jackson, Lee Evans. Let's talk about Lee Evans.
Brilliant.
Giving him a lot of stick, haven't I? I thought he had a really, really good game yesterday. No, I don't think he's on Twitter no more. I looked for him the other day. I couldn't find him on there. Maybe he's just disappeared. I thought he had a really, really good game yesterday. Obviously, he was on a yellow. Morsey sold him a little bit of a fucking hospital pass, and he had to bring matey down. But I thought he had a really, really good game, controlled the game in the middle, and obviously a real crucial header off the line when it was 1-0. You know, that was destined. I think it would have been 1-0, 1-1, wouldn't it, Martin? Because I think it looked like Christian Walton was beaten, and he was there. But I thought he had a really, really good game. Just sat in front of the back four. And let Morsey get forward, didn't he?
Yeah, done well.
Yeah,
you're right.
He did get yellow. He was so chippy with the ref. I wonder if they had a bit of a previous history.
Well, the ref, Matt, the first 45 minutes was absolutely terrible, wasn't he?
This is the story for you. You all did some videos for me for yesterday's full-time show. I had to clip a bit of Milk Tray's video.
What did he say about the ref?
I can't air it. Literally, I can't air it. My legal aid solicitors would have.
He was dreadful.
He was dreadful. He was really bad.
He had about a 10-15 minute spell when it was literally the crowd everyone was losing their shit because he was just he was woeful, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he wasn't the best. Although the weather may have played a factor. You know, it might have been cold. Who knows?
He was laughing when they were going shit refs and all that. I could see him chuckling away.
I joke. But if anyone knows about being a shit ref and losing try to games, Rich, it's got to be you. So you probably could give him some tips.
That's not very nice. You never ever seen me ref. How can you comment?
I have to. I hear the comments from you. You won't believe this, guys. Another another brawl or 8 guys or.
How old were they? Under 9s.
Yeah.
People need to learn to control themselves, don't they? Really.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's always the ref's fault. It's always the ref's fault, Matt.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
When it happens once, no. When it repeatedly happens, you've got to start looking at the referee. I say.
Not for me. I'm reffing tonight anyway. 5:45.
There we go. We'll get some
6
more
aside.
stories.
6 aside is easy. It's easy tonight.
Oh, okay. Nobody. Someone made a really good point yesterday. Mawson Evans are not getting each other's way anymore.
Yeah, but one's doing one job and one's doing another, and they're not both sitting in front of the back four like they were under Cook.
No,
and they were both playing that same role, weren't they, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting that Morsey's now the one pushing forward, isn't it? You know, we thought he was going to be the holder. The way he had his debut.
He's a goal.
Allowing Evans to
needs a goal, doesn't he? I just want to see him score a goal because he's almost there.
He should have done
maybe Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday night. He'll break his duck when Matt's not there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be there yet.
Hey,
no. Well, this room's lovely and warm, Rich. I'm not going to.
You're away, aren't you?
Not anymore.
Anyway,
sadly not. No,
you're not going.
No. Don't worry. I'm still going to leave you in the chair. Don't worry.
Fucking! I thought I was going to change the song. Could have been Crunchers at the Wheel.
I can't rob you of that. Of that moment. We talked about the back four, Donasio and Walton.
Eminem.
Picking themselves. Would you go further actually and say we're now developing a strong spine? Because if you look at those four, you then got Moores and Evans. They're always being picked as well. So
there's 8 players. I said to Matt yesterday after the game when he rang me, there's 8 players, Martin, in that team now. If fit, they're going to be selected. You've got your goalkeeper, your 3 defenders, Evans and Morsey, and your 2 wing backs. It's the 3 forward players that he's going to keep changing. I think it'll be interesting what he goes with on Tuesday night. Obviously, Kayden Jackson was man of the match yesterday. Does he keep his place? Because you would think on that performance that he deserves to, doesn't he?
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
You said,
but he might not.
No, exactly. You said yesterday that he was going to, in the full time show, and then in the chat I think it was nobody or somebody else saying, "Don't be surprised if he isn't." Who knows with Ipswich Town anymore? Who knows? But I hear you were once again sort of mediating yourself out yesterday around. You were Mr. Cruncher PLC. You were here, there, and everywhere.
I thought I'd give Graham Mack a few minutes of my time because I don't obviously now on a Saturday I don't normally get on much, do I? When we're doing our show.
Did you give Sutton and Savage a little bit of your time as well, or did you?
No, not last night. Not last night. No, I didn't. Last time I went on there giving Chris Sutton stick, and then not long after that, Paul Cook got sacked. So
yeah, well,
that was actually the last time I was on after the FA Cup game. And then when I come off the phone, there he was. He'd gone.
Yeah, love that.
Anyway, they lost yesterday, didn't they? Chesterfield 2-0 up, and then they lost 3-2 to Solihull Moors.
They were down to 10 men though.
Yeah, but
so
yeah, there you go.
Budgie says, "Do you think Cookie did his team via his tea leaves?" Who knows? Who knows? But right, Oscar's the right idea. Press the like button, people.
Yes.
We are back tomorrow, 8:30. Milk Tray and Alex are joining me. Before that, we may have an away day guide if the Queen of Hearts is well. But we do have an F1 fan show live. If you're an F1 fan, Hamilton announced he is returning.
New car. The new Mercedes is out.
Yeah, the Ferrari looks absolutely.
Did you chat about the boxing? I missed the start of the show. Did you chat about the boxing, Matt?
Yeah, we've been there. All of the lights.
Yeah, did you watch it, Rich? What did you make of it from the video?
I watched it this morning. I watched it, listened to it on TalkSport. That link that Matt sent me, I just couldn't work, and I was tired. I'd been up since 3:30 yesterday morning. I weren't pissing about. I wasn't paying 25 quid. Wasn't paying 25 quid, but
20 quid.
He didn't fancy it, did he? Khan didn't fancy it.
No, he looked flat. Yeah, bring Russ.
The interview, and Brooks going to continue. He probably should go out on a high. Yeah, but these boxers, they can't. It's like a drug. He'll fight Eubank, won't he? I think he'll fight Eubank.
Kel Brook.
Yeah.
It's not often you see boxers go out at the top, so I'd like to see Kel go out at the top. But yeah, you're right. He said, "I've got my mojo back."
That means he's going to have another fight. Prize fighter, he called himself, didn't he?
Would you be surprised to see Khan activate the rematch clause?
No.
He'll retire now.
He's done, isn't he?
Yeah.
But what did you say on WhatsApp? You didn't rate him. The media mogul did not agree with you.
No. glass chin fighters.
He's had a great career.
He's had a really good career. He's had a really good career.
He can't take a punt. I mean, I wouldn't get in the ring with him. Don't get me wrong. Blue badge holder as I am, I would not get in the ring with him. But he can't take a punch.
Well, he didn't get floored last night. He took some heavy shots.
As a boxer, that is an issue, isn't it? Not being able to take a punch.
Oh God, yeah.
It's a bit of a problem.
It's the key component of being a good boxer is how to take a punch. Callie says something about IPTV. Those are just words to me. I don't know what they mean. We're good Halo boys here. Right, we're done. We're dusted. Yes. Oh, Sanard. Looking forward to the F1 show. Also check out how teams pay, Gov. The more points you get, the more you have to pay. I will make sure that's on the list of talking points. I've already got them from the lads. They are more car reveals. Who has the prettiest car? Hamilton back, and how different will the cars be in Bahrain? There you go. We're back tomorrow. Until then, he's been corporate crunch all bit for 10 minutes. He has been the media mogul. We've had George. We've had Parry. We've had the fisherman.
Who won the goat? It's got to be Matt. It's got to be Matt. I'll vote for Matt.
50. I'm winning it. 51%.
What?
Yes. 51%. Quick, end the show.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but